children also cause this psychic shock you told us about?
No. To a great degree, they will already be somewhat assimilated into the vibration of your society, though they will remain on a little bit higher frequency, but they are already practicing how to blend into human society. Now, there may be a little bit of an adjustment period, but they won't really be capable of causing the psychic shock, or if they were, they would not be allowed to come and live on your planet. The idea is that they are practicing how to live among you, practicing how to adjust their frequencies in certain ways while not lowering their frequencies too much, allowing humanity just a little bit of an opportunity to raise their frequency to match the hybrid's frequency, but it will be close enough that no psychic shock needs to occur.
And what will be the meeting point of the frequencies?
That we cannot say because it will depend upon the individuals.
Understood. But right now, there is already not possible to make psychic shock or damage. We could basically meet him already.
You could meet some of them that are practiced already, yes. Not all of them are practiced yet, but eventually they all will be.
Is there maybe a hybrid child that wants to communicate right now with me and say something?
They are listening, and they are expressing the idea of excitement of being in certain enclaves and sanctuaries on your planet that are highly natural and allow them to experience the beauty of Earth.
So they're already visiting the Earth.
Now and then they are practicing by temporarily visiting not only natural sites, but also sometimes living in your cities, in abandoned or empty apartments or houses, to practice what it's like to live among humanity. But then they leave and go back to the ships, so another group can come in and use the same area to practice how to live in humanity. There are many things they need to learn, many things that are foreign and alien to them about what humanity and its cultures do.
Exciting, understood. And what is about the recent moon landing that crashed, the private moon landing? Can you
what is
tell us what
are
happened?
asking about?
Yeah,
You had a technical, there was a technical issue.
That's all.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And do already in secret have human space station on Moon or the Mars?
No.
Okay. And do already a teleportation technology for humans, does this exist?
It does in crude form. It is not perfected. There are many things about this kind of technology that so far are beyond the understanding of the humans that have been experimenting with it. So there is a crude form of it, but it is not perfected.
Okay. And what about their Virginia, Brazil crash? Who crashed there and why?
The why of it we will leave for now, but the who of it, again, has to do with the grays and hybrids.
So the beings that the children saw, the three girls, that was a hybrid being or a gray.
Yes, yes.
Because it was brown, they said.
There are brown hybrids.
Ah, so it was a hybrid.
A different kind of hybrid than the hybrids we have been referring to, but a hybrid nevertheless. There are many forms of hybrid out here among the stars. It depends on many things about what kind they are, but not necessarily the kind that we're talking about in terms of the children that will come to live among you. That doesn't mean some of them are not themselves brown, but what those children saw was something quite different, a different form of hybrid from an interdimensional place.
Understood. And you always talked about these frequencies that the planet right now has about 70,000 of cycles per second of vibration. And I'm interested, what are the cities on the planet, like a few cities with the highest vibration?
Those in the most natural settings, basically, although it can fluctuate. Some in urban centers, can be patches of very high vibration, but overall, most of your cities that are in more natural settings among trees and mountains and streams and forests will have the general higher vibrations.
So the people are automatically tuned into nature, and this is why the frequency of the whole city is higher.
Yes, in general, on average. Again, it doesn't mean there aren't pockets of high vibration or even higher vibration in some of your cities that are not necessarily set exactly in nature, but it is compartmentalized in certain areas.
And one thing is also interesting for me about the story with Arjuna and Krishna, where Krishna says it's your dharma to fight basically your family. Did Krishna really said this, or is this something wrong?
It's interpreted incorrectly. The idea is that every generation is different, every generation evolves, and therefore must reach beyond what the beliefs are of the last generation. Sometimes that may cause certain conflicts on your planet because of the nature of the learning and training of humans, but the idea is being expressed simply as an idea that you must go beyond the belief systems of the last generation.
So it was not to fight. It was a completely different message.
The idea of the fighting simply comes from the idea of attempting to let go of the belief systems of the last generation. So it can be seen as a challenge and a struggle, and there may sometimes include actual fighting just because, again, of how humanity has been trained to think. It doesn't have to fight, but the idea is that it often does in order to break away from the belief systems of the last generation. Again, it's not necessary to fight, but often presents itself that way. But that's why it's happening, because one generation must break away from the beliefs of the last generation, and that often can cause different feelings and conflicts within humans.
Understood.
Will that do?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.
Iliova, Bashar. When we meet beings from other worlds, we would of course like to do that as equals. Can you discuss what humans need to bring to the table, both individually and collectively, in order to meet beings from other worlds and realities as equals? Aveo.
Again, unconditional love, acceptance, allowance of each other, knowing that it is the strengthening of the differences that make each of you unique that will actually create unity in your civilization, which will then make you more vibrationally compatible to create unity with other civilizations. It's not about being homogenous. It's about validating the differences in all of you that are representative of the true version of who each of you truly are as a reflection of the infinite.
Good day, Bashar. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful to meet you here. Thank you so
It is
very
our
much.
passion and our pleasure to interact with you. What would you like to discuss this day?
Thank you so very much. Future of channeling. Future of channeling. What is ahead of us for channelers?
The idea is that humanity is evolving to be able to consciously download information from the spirit level without necessarily thinking twice about it. The idea is getting out of the way, allowing your physical mind to align with the higher mind in such a way that you can download whatever information you may require at that time. That would be, in a sense, the future of channeling, where you're in that state and you're in that zone constantly and never leaving it.
Does it mean that the formula is like a navigation for channelers?
Yes.
Follow your passion, the channeler
Yes.
has a passion.
Yes, because when you follow your passion, you automatically go into the gamma state in your brain between 40 and 100 cycles per second, which is the channeling vibration, the channeling frequency in the brain.
Okay, thank you so very much.
Yes.
And would you answer the question, what is, from your point of view, what is living multidimensionally on Earth? In other words, quantum reality, may I say it?
The idea is to become, up to a point, more literally aware of how reality is created multidimensionally by your consciousness. Thinking of your body in a sense like a lens or a prism through which consciousness expresses itself and creates the projection that you call physical reality. So it's becoming far more aware that you are a multidimensional being, drawing upon different dimensions, parallel realities, different aspects of your being on different levels of spirit to create the information that you require in order to create the projection that you then experience as physical reality. Becoming aware of how you're doing this will allow you to feel like you are literally walking through a dream, walking through the illusion that you are creating, seeing it both as an illusion and a true experience that helps you grow and learn. So it's like the idea of dream walking.
Thank you, Bashar.
Will that do, or is there something else?
About, may I ask you one more question?
Yes, well, that was a question. Do you want to ask another?
Great, thank you so very much. About quantum hypnosis, I
Yes.
work with Arcturian frequencies, Arcturian energies. I'm using it as a quantum modality. I call it hypnosis, but it's more for me than hypnosis. I can't find exact words.
All right. The idea of what you're referring to when using the quantum state is what scientists call entanglement. In other words, again, another way of saying that everything exists simultaneously, that space and time are illusions, and therefore you're tapping into the vibration you need to download whatever information is accessible to you in that moment that's relevant for you to access. That is the idea of quantum entanglement, and also the idea of quantum anything, because everything is right here and right now. And the idea of understanding it from a quantum point of view is the idea that everything is right here and right now, reduced to its ultimate simplicity and accessible from any point in space and time, because space and time are illusions.
Yes. And the last question would be, if may I, about star seeds, star children.
Star seeds and star children are just another way of saying that there are souls that have decided that they're going to incarnate to be of assistance in the evolution of humanity at this time.
Very simple, very beautiful. I am very grateful for this interaction with you, Bashar.
It is our passion and our pleasure to interact with you. Aveo.
Aveo.
Prana vacuum. Using today's technology.
The so-called prana vacuum is the same thing as the idea of what you might call the quantum vacuum, is the same thing as the zero-point energy concept that many people are talking about on your planet. It exists all around you. The technology exists that you can use to tap into it in certain ways. Many of the kinds of things that people have invented that say it's tapping into the zero-point energy are not exactly doing so. But the idea is growing in the consciousness, the collective consciousness of your planet, until such time as that awareness evolves into technology that will truly tap into that prana field, the quantum field, the void, and whatever else you may wish to call it. It will allow you unlimited energy, unlimited flow, an inexhaustible supply of energy that can be utilized in a variety of ways once you truly tap into that technology. It has to do with creating devices of proper resonance, proper frequencies, capacitors that vibrate at certain resonant frequencies that deliver and transform energy in a certain way, step it down in a way that you can use with your technology. We have talked a little bit about this as a space-time antenna concept. 3 nested spheres separated by phi ratio diameters, penetrated by antennae that are insulated from a Merkaba, a double interpenetrated tetrahedron in the center of the 3 spheres that resonates at certain frequencies and can be activated by the introduction of energy into it, and it will output energy of a higher caliber, a higher level, and a higher frequency, tapping into the quantum field in certain ways. But many people on your planet, a few of them, are beginning to experiment with this, and we cannot deliver more information about this device until they have already achieved what it is we have already delivered. End of discussion.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day.
Thank you for having this conversation with each other in this way.
It is our passion and our pleasure to do so. What would you like to discuss?
Talking about the hybrid children, you've mentioned in the past that contact between hybrid children and their mothers will expand over time.
Yes.
Has this process indeed started on this timeline? Is
Yes.
there an increase of physical contact between human beings and the hybrid children?
Yes, but in an altered reality, not necessarily physically on your planet so much, but in a slightly altered version of physical reality, and in dream time, these encounters have increased.
Okay, wonderful.
Eventually, it will leak into the physical reality as you understand it,
Yes.
although it will still be of a higher vibration than it is now.
Yes, understand. Yeah. And I also wanted to talk to you about suppressed memories.
Yes.
During our previous conversation, you've mentioned that I was visited by the Grace when I also was a child,
Yes.
and that these experiences are buried deep within my consciousness.
Well, not that deep.
Oh, not that deep. You also mentioned that I felt victimized because my childlike state was not able to comprehend what was going on during these visitations.
Yes.
Okay. And is it correct to say that from the point of view as a human being child, that these visitations and the removal of genetic material was somehow experienced as a trauma on a psychological level?
Yes, but only because of the way you were raised as a human, not because it's innate to the being a child, not because it's innate to being a human child, just because of the way your planet views these kinds of things, and because it is short-sighted in its compartmentalization of awareness. That's the only reason you experienced it traumatically.
And is that also the reason that we're still somehow afraid of extraterrestrials?
Because you are afraid of portions of your own power. And the extraterrestrials you're encountering represent and reflect the idea of your true power in certain ways.
I understand. And that, yeah, that's probably not a coincidence, but that leads up to my next question. Both my parents have transitioned almost within 3 years of each other. And the last parent, my father, passed 1 year ago.
Yes.
And their physical absence caused a shift in my life.
Yes, of course. That's the purpose of it.
Yeah. I experienced this as a tremendous opportunity to shed a whole bunch of negative belief systems that I have bestowed upon myself through their upbringing.
Well, congratulations. That is a positive way to use it.
Thank you. But I also sense that this tremendous opportunity is sometimes a bit frightening.
Why?
As if this whole new space that has opened up is sometimes too big to handle.
Impossible. Otherwise, you wouldn't experience it. You only grow into the space you're ready for. So no matter how it looks, you're making a comparison, still using some of the outdated beliefs to view it, instead of letting go of those outdated beliefs and understanding you cannot experience more than you're ready for anyway. You can expand into it. That's why it looks that big, because that's how big you actually are when you let go of the limiting beliefs.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. And I also am aware of the physical impact of this awareness.
Yes.
For instance, when my body is sleeping,
Yes.
it seems to respond to this awareness with an actual physical shock during the night that eventually wakes me up.
Yes, it can, because again, your body's not used to that vibration or frequency of energy, but it can get used to it over time.
And how can we do that? Can you say something about how to integrate this new space and the awareness of new space and the physical response to this? Is it just going with the flow, letting it happen?
That's one way, practice in a sense, having it happen over and over again, you'll get used to it. That's one way. But one way to accelerate that is to understand or have a perspective where physical reality isn't really separate from spirit reality. It's really not so different. It's just that you've defined it as very different. You've placed certain definitions on physical reality that makes it seem so unlike spirit reality, when in fact it's a natural extension of it.
Okay, and the physical body that reacts, how can we smoothen that out?
Well, this is what I'm telling you. Stop making such a separation in your belief system between the idea of your physical body and your spirit. Your physical body is your spirit in physical terms. It's the same kind of idea, if you wish, a crude analogy of saying ice is still water. It's just frozen, but it's the same thing. It's the same substance, essentially, and so is steam. So if you start looking at your body as if it's simply, euphemistically, a frozen version of your spirit, or at least a portion of your spirit, you can start to allow the physical reality to sort of melt a little bit more, allow it to become a little bit more fluid, a little bit more liquid, and not be so different from the liquid version or the steam version. So you have to start really looking at physical reality as if it's just another state of being of spirit and not really separate. It's the idea of separation that's tripping you up.
Yeah, I understand. And you also said something about that the human beings on Earth will become more and more human over time.
Yes, you're actually not fully human yet.
Yeah, and I was wondering what you meant by that. What does it mean to be human as opposed to not being fully human?
Being fully human means that you understand that everything is made of unconditional love. You understand that everything is connected, everything is a reflection of everything else, and you act accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Being fully human is what you ascribe to beings like Christ, Buddha, Krishna, so on and so forth. It's the idea of the behavior that reflects the godhood within you.
Yes. Yeah. And that probably also means that we're not so compartmentalized in our way of thinking then.
Exactly. You think more holistically, more as a whole system. That's why I said you understand everything is one thing. I am you from another point of view. Literally, I am you from another point of view. You are us from another point of view. A fully realized human lives in that truth.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bashar.
You are so welcome. Aveo.
Aveo.